Alright, it's super early, doing something a little bit different today. I'm not going hunting. What I am doing is heading down to the PSE factory, gonna go hang out, check out some bows, and kind of get the tour, so should be fun.
Snippet of Pete's trophy room.
That
everything that was like throughout the building has been moved in here and staged for the move.
Guys, this is like, it looks like thousands of pounds of antlers. Oh man, look at that sheep. That thing's wicked. Sweet.
They call it the pet cemetery.
Pet cemetery. That's an interesting way to put it. All right, so we got 264 out of the regular mod on here. We just put the fast mod on, so now we're gonna see what this thing does with that. This is a 550 grain arrow. $271. 270. Thing is smoking. Alright, got the new bow all set up. Freaking awesome. Super pumped. Gonna be the Coos hammer this year. Thanks to Caleb and his diligent work.
We did it.
Tuning. It was a process, but we got it done. So
heavy arrows, man.
Yeah.
Blessing or a curse.
Heavy arrow problems. So on to January. This has been awesome, man. If you guys want to come check out PSE in Tucson, it's a pretty cool spot. Nice people. All right, we got that new PSE Xpedite NXT all set up. Now we're gonna head to the range, get her sighted in, and then from there we're gonna go head down to Ross Outdoors and get a new sight tape put on. PSE Xpedite NXT ready to rock. Always gonna sight in with my quiver on. That's because that's how I'm gonna be hunting. So yeah, let's see what happens. Show you guys the first two arrows. One of them is my peep was twisted so I couldn't see. That's this one. My peep was twisted so I couldn't see through it, so I just eyeballed it. But these two, so they're a little left and down, so we're just gonna make that adjustment and then see what happens. We're getting there. Pretty solid group, just a shade low, so I'm just going to bump that down. It should be good at 30. All right, so I got 30. So I did make one more adjustment. So that last hit was dead center, but it was like just a shade low. So I made another adjustment right there. It should be absolutely money in the X. So now we're gonna move to 40, 50, and keep going from there. And then we'll head down to Ross to get a sight tape put on. Wanted to point something out real quick, how I made that first initial adjustment. For the top pin, basically what I do, I don't start moving my pins around until after I get that first pin set. So what I do first is I put the top pin up towards the top of the housing, and then like I just basically put it where I want it. And the reason why I do that is to make room beneath that to have room for the rest of the pins, because if you don't have room for the rest of the pins, you can run out of room. And so by the time you get to, if you want your bottom pin at 70 yards, you run out of room and you're at 60, you're not going to be able to get that bottom pin set. So I always do that, put the top pin at the pretty much right around the top of the housing. So all of my adjustments I was making for 30 yards, which is my first pin, I did by moving the whole housing. So first it was to the left and down, so I moved the whole housing left and down, and I just kept inching it more and more and more until the arrows were hitting in the center. So just a little tippy for sighting in. All right, so two of those 3 shots at 40 were dead center but high, which is to be expected because this bow is quite a bit faster than my previous bow. So it's going to shrink my pin gapping. So now what I'm going to do, instead of moving the whole sight housing, I'm going to actually just move the individual pin. So 40 is going to be my second pin down. I'm going to move that pin up a little bit because I was hitting high at 40 yards. You always want to chase the arrow. Make your adjustment in the direction that the arrow is hitting. So that's what we're going to do. All right, see what that does. All right, felt pretty dang good about that one. I think they're all in the black, so we'll see here in a second. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. All of them are in the black. These two are slightly to the left here. So as you move back in distance, little minute inconsistencies are going to show themselves. So if this keeps up, when I get to 50, I'll make another adjustment to the left to bring those arrows in. But with this, right now I'm happy. One thing I forgot to mention, so another little tip. So I got that 40 good, meaning that there is now a gap in between my first and second pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball the rest of my pins and try to match that gap just to get me in the ballpark. Because I had to make a adjustment to that second pin and move it up, meaning that if I used my third pin right now, which is my 50-yard pin, to shoot at 50, I'd probably hit way high. So to mitigate like more adjustments, I'm just going to do it right now and try to eyeball it. And I'll show you what that looks like. See how that second pin down is closer to the top pin, and there's a bigger gap between the second and third pin? That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take that third pin down, I'm going to move it up and try to mimic the gap between the first and second pin, and that's going to put me in the ballpark. Okay, now see how all the pins are tighter together now? I moved them all kind of together, so that right there is going to get me in the ballpark of all the rest of the ranges. So that was really close. Everything was a shade low. 2 of the arrows were pretty much in the center though, so I'm going to shoot that group one more time just to kind of make sure. And if that's the case, again, I'm going to move the pin just a little bit down, but for the most part, making that overall adjustment got me like 2 arrows were in the black in the bullseye, but they were kind of low, so I'm just going to shoot that again. Okay, I'm glad this happened so I can show you this. All right, so remember that. So these are fairly good elevation wise. They're a little bit low, so I am going to move the pin down a bit to compensate for that and bring these up this way. These are still a little bit to the left, okay? So as you step back your yardage, you're going to see little inconsistencies in your sight end, and this is a perfect example. So not only am I going to move my pin down a little bit, I'm also going to move my whole sight housing a little bit to the left. All right, so that worked out really well actually, that adjustment. So this is what happened after I made that adjustment. First shot, dead center, just to the right, just to the right. This is probably me. Really happy with that for 50 yards. So on to 60 and 70. Okay, so first shots at 60 yards. I mean, it's good for the most part, but I'm gonna do it again. I had one a little high, one a little low, and then another one left. So they're kind of in the area of 60 yards. So when that happens, when it's not consistent like that, absolutely shoot another group to see what's going on. Here's what I'm aiming at right there. That mark there. These are my first 2 shots. Right around in there. This was absolutely me. I felt myself move on that one. So I think what I'm going to do, because 2 of the arrows, actually they're all a slight bit high, I'm going to pinch the pin up just a tad, just a little bit, and then we're going to do it again. Okay, so that was a really good group. All of them were a shade left though. So remember what was happening when I said about moving back, and these little inconsistencies in your sight end are gonna pop up. So we moved a little bit left at 50, got us there. Now I'm gonna move a pinch to the left at 60. And that's what's so cool about these micro adjust sights, is you can really like fine tune them. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. That was money. This was my first shot. I think that was probably me. Arm's starting to get tired. These are my next 2 shots though. Pretty dead center, just a smidge low. So what I'm gonna do, you always wanna go with the majority, okay? When you're making adjustments to your sight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my bottom pin, which is my 70-yard pin, down just a tad, and that's going to bring these up. I'm so stoked on this bow. Oh my goodness, this thing is shooting tacks. I don't think we need to make an adjustment. It's really hard to tell from 70 yards out, but they're all 3 arrows are right in the freaking bread basket. All right, that's it. 70 yards. These 2 are like in there. This one's just a shade out to the left. I could, if I was going to be real picky, I could just pinch it a hair to the left. I might do that, but other than that, man, that's a solid group for 70 yards. I mean, that's like 1, 2, that's a 2.5 inch group at 70 yards, so pretty stoked on that. Okay, we are all good to go. Bow is sighted. It's freaking drilling tacks. Now we're gonna go down to Ross Outdoors and get a new sight tape put on.
$115.
I like it. All right, got the new Xpedite all set up. It's dialed, shooting freaking lights out. Got the new sight tape on there. So freaking pumped for January deer season. It's right around the corner. Got just a couple weeks here. Gonna spend time with my family for Christmas, and then after that, it is off to the mountains to chase coos deer and mule deer. So thanks for watching. If you guys like the channel, please hit subscribe. If you like the video, please hit thumbs up. I appreciate that. And until next time, stay safe out there.